Good afternoon. My name is Francisco Javier Mendez Martinez, and I'm going to talk about the pragmatics. The pragmatic is the study of the context in which a person communicates with another. This is also named social communication. This has influences in the politeness, directness, and deference. It is often seen in how the communication between friends, employee boss interaction, etc. In this one, we can see for the first language, we found that there are five basic steps or range of ages, um, starting from the 0 to the 18 months. In this stage is basically the babies start socializing, showing items to their parents, making sounds or gestures. Some of the times we'll use the word bye and can answer using facial expressions or even words. This is basically seen in how a child tries to get a little bit of attention and also communicate with others around him and trying to start socializing. The second stage is the 18 months to the 2 years. The child starts using short words like hello or even mine to protest. They try to get attention asking, "What's that?" This is more seen in how the interaction is growing, how he starts developing those pragmatic abilities. And the third step is from the 2 years to the 3.5 years. In this stage, the child can role play with others, they can recognize the need of other people, and start using some kind of fantasy language to refer to what they believe or something like that, and request permissions to do things like going out. Then we have the fourth step, and we can see that is from the 4 to 5 years. In this stage, the child start using correctly the possessive adjectives like that, those, etc. Can describe their feelings more frequently and develop the ability to tell stories in a sequence of events. As we can see in the example, in the 4 to 5 years, the child says, "The man is on the horse and he is going to jump over the fence." In these moments, we can see that he is trying to tell the story according to the events that are happening in that moment. And to the final stage is the 5 to 6 years. In this stage, the ability to tell stories is greatly improved, but the children still have a few difficulties with the ending. Also, they may praise other people, like saying "well done," "you did it," or other kind of compliments, and they begin to make promises. Like in the example, "I promise I will do it tomorrow." For the second language, pragmatic development, we have that it divides in 5 stages. The first stage is the pre-basic stage. This is a non-pragmatic interaction. Um, in this, we can see the example that the child or the boy says the word "sir." This is trying to interact with an adult, and he doesn't use a more complex sentence. The second stage is the formulaic stage. In this stage, we have that the learners perform requests with chunks of the language. In the example, we have the word or the phrase "give me that." He uses just 3 words to express what he wants or what he requests. In the third stage, we have that it's the unpacking stage. And here you can see how he noticed the words "can you," And using those words, he starts using a more politely language, a more polite context of the words. And then he just adds a verb or the rest of the phrase he wants to say. The stage 4 is the pragmatic expansion. In this stage, we can see the addition of new forms and increased use of mitigation and a more complex syntax. For example, the sentence "Can I borrow your book?" We can see that he tries to make a more complex sentence, trying to ask for something and being respectful with the other child or the other person. And the final stage is the fine tuning. In this stage, the learners are able to understand association between forms, participants, goals, and context. Like, for example, we have the word, "Is there some milk?" The child now makes a better use of the sentence and a better context. This can be with his family or another friend. This can help him to have better interaction with others. And that will be all from me. Some of the similarities we can see in the pragmatics development for the first and the second language is that in both it is in 5 stages. Also, in the first stage for both languages, there is almost no interaction. There are only a few words or movement interaction, and there are no more complex sentences. There are only one word or a few sounds.
Hello, my name is Guadalupe de la Cruz Garcia. Finally, I will talk about differences between pragmatics in first language and second language. Well, the first differences about pragmatics in a second language include not only communicative and grammatical competence, but also considers the suitability of language, taking into account sociocultural variables. And in the first language, it isn't that way. The other differences between pragmatics is the pragmalinguistic offers occurs when second language students use their first language strategies to perform a linguistic function. For example, I apologize or forgive me instead of sorry. The performance is transferred directly from the first language. The other differences about pragmatics is the sociopragmatics transfers that occurs when applying sociocultural norms from first language to second language. For example, when referring to the teacher using a title like Miss or Misters, the use of title is more common in non-English speaking cultures. The other difference, as a general explanation about the stage in the first language acquisition, the child uses communicative functions. For example, he observes, he has conversational skills. In this case, being a receiver or sender, being fluent, learning to dialogue and narrate. In the second language, the child understands and can reach out communicative actions in a second language context, such as complaints, apologies, rejections, and engage in different types of discourse. Thank you very much. Is that all for me? Well, other similarities about pragmatics is that the similarities between the first language and second language of acquisition in pragmatics, children express intentions This consists of a language that depends on the context.